as always. So we've got Jono and Chris and David here to talk with us about the Maryland Avenue Corridor Project. And so this is coming out of St. Paul Public Works, along with the SRF Consulting Group. So I think we've got folks from each of those, and if you guys want to introduce yourselves and take it away.
I'm going to go ahead and do a quick intro just for myself, and then I'm going to hand it over to our SRF folks. So again, David Peterson, the City of St. Paul Public Works Department, Transportation Planning. I'm the project manager for this initial phase of this corridor study. And just as a little bit of background, this is a common sense project. So the common sense sales tax funds that folks will remember were passed by voters a couple of years ago to reconstruct a number of roads around the city. This is planned for 2028 construction, and we're kind of doing it in phases where we're going to be doing kind of planning, followed by detailed design, followed by construction. This is we're going to get into some more of the details, I suppose, with Chris's presentation, which we'll share. It is a county road part of this between Dale Street and Rice. And the section that you see primarily actually on the screen right here is the city portion from Dale Street to East Como Boulevard. So the city's looking to do a reconstruction. The county's looking at the results of the study to see if it's going to be sort of infrastructure improvement or full reconstruction. And we're just excited to come to you tonight and have some conversation about the street and learn a little bit about some of your understanding of this street and some of the issues that you're seeing with it. I'm going to hand it over to Chris, who's our project manager with SRF.
Yeah, thanks, David. So Chris Brown again. I'm the project manager from SRF Consulting Group. So I'm a transportation planner by trade. Joined by Sam Matuke again, who's from TC2 on our consultant team. She'll be leading public engagement, along with Jono, who's been helping also with engagement from SRF and communications. And then again, we have also Amy Barnstorff on the call from Ramsey County. So I will get my slides progressed here. So first and foremost, the project area, as David mentioned, runs from Como to Dale from the City of St. Paul owned portion, and then Dale to Rice, which is the Ramsey County owned portion of the roadway. So this is our entire study area. It's about 1.5 miles Maryland Avenue. So we are currently at literally step one. This project just kicked off formally with the city and county back in January. So we are just a little ways into this effort of collecting data. Literally today through the end of the month, we are in our first phase of engagement that I'll talk about a little bit here. And this, the ultimate goal of this study is to, analyze all of the existing conditions data, talk to community members and gather feedback, go through what is called an alternatives process, looking at different options for how the roadway may look in the future, and then landing on a preferred option that can be further engineered and designed as a part of a different effort next year, external to this planning project, to actually construct that phase one, which is tentatively planned for 2028 by the city and 2029 by the county. Really the ultimate goal of this study is to improve safety and mobility for all users, but with a specific focus on people walking, rolling, biking, accessing transit connections and future enhanced transit connections, and simply just trying to get to their destinations along this corridor. And this is, as I already mentioned, our project team, consultant and agencies. So this is just some background to ground us here. Obviously, as I'm sure you all are very well aware, there's a lot of destinations along here. There's the 2 schools, which we've been actively coordinating with. There's also Marydale Park, and those business nodes and destinations at Dale and Rice. So busy corridor, a lot going on, a lot of opportunity. Again, here's our schedule. So we're in the planning phase. Kind of some key milestones. So come this summer, we will, as I mentioned, have those alternatives. So have several different options, illustrative options of what the road can look like that we'll study. There'll be 3. We'll evaluate those from a technical process as well as through community engagement and land on that one preferred option come fall. And then this planning study, we will complete it by the end of the calendar year. and deliver all of our findings and information to the city and county to move forward into actual engineering and design, civil design. From an engagement standpoint, we have 3 phases. So like as I mentioned, literally today, phase 1 is kicked off, where we are informing everybody that we can, the North End and District Council, as well as yourselves. We also will be engaging with the public physically through some pop-up events. We will have signage with QR codes out in the community and the park through yard signs and street signs come this weekend. Project website. And on that project website, which there will be a QR code here in a few slides, as well as the link, there is an online survey. So we definitely encourage you all to take that survey, share it out through your different channels, get the word out. And so there's a brief survey as well as an interactive comment map. That comment map will allow you to identify specific locations that you have concerns about. And there'll be different kind of options of a walking concern, biking concern, other kind of catch-all concerns. So a variety of options where you can leave a comment. Everyone will be able to see that comment. And so we can aggregate those at the end and actually identify specific locations of feedback that we can take into consideration as we develop, again, these future corridor alternatives. So all that's happening this month. So the survey will close on April 30th, and then we'll, reveal that internally in the months of, May and June, and that's when we'll really start to develop these alternatives, and then come back out to you all in that, mid to late summer timeframe. And that would be phase 2, where we'll have another online survey opportunity to review the alternatives, provide your feedback. We'll be back presenting all this information to you all and the other district council, as well as having additional in-person and virtual opportunities to engage with us. And this will all wrap up then in phase 3, where we'll share out all of our findings, share out our final recommendations, and provide some updates there towards the end of the year.
Do families living along Maryland get a personalized letter to their address specifically about this project?
We do not have mailers currently planned, but we will have, again, signage and flyer opportunities. And so we, I guess, don't have specific mailers planned to homes along the corridor at this time. But there could be an opportunity in the future for that, yes. We also are engaging with the schools, so we've already shared out the survey link and intend to have that shared out through their parent channels, staff, and students as well to engage with. So we are focusing in on them specifically as well as a major user of the corridor.
Chris, I wanted to mention that on the project website, you can also sign up for project updates, which is a good place to. We haven't shared that many things yet, but we will be as more products become available from the consultant team. We'll be sharing things out to folks who sign up there. So please, if you're interested in staying keeping abreast of what's happening, just go to the website. You can enter your email, and then it'll put you on a list related to this project.
I just wanted to quick add to, we are going to include pop-ups throughout this, so we'll likely have an open house, but then we're looking at doing pop-ups, maybe just a nice day in the park or at Connie's Creamy Cone. So hopefully we're connecting with those neighborhood residents that way as well and just getting the word out. But if you have any ways to forward this along to community members as well, that would be helpful for us.
Yeah, any other questions as we're paused here that I can answer on the location or background?
Are you also meeting with District 6, Nino?
Yes, we are on Monday for the same
All right.
presentation. All right. So then I'll just continue here. I'll pause here on the slide for a moment for the QR code. So if you would like to, in this very moment, get access to the website just to see where it's at, and also then you can see the survey link. You can also take the survey on your mobile device if you so choose. So just wanted to offer the opportunity to access out the QR code. I'll come back to this slide in a second when I'm done. These are just a couple of screenshots showing, again, that interactive web map that I alluded to, where you can add your comments, as well as just the online survey that has just a small handful of questions on how you use Maryland today, and how you desire to use Maryland in the future as you travel by different modes of transportation.
And Chris, I put the links in the chat as well to
Perfect.
both the map and the survey.
Thanks, David.
Yeah. They're on our digital agenda too, and they'll be in our newsletter.
Awesome. Yeah, and we do appreciate your partnership and the other district council on sharing it out through your newsletter and other channels too. So it's great to get the word out. So again, we're at the very beginning here, so a pretty brief presentation just to introduce this project to you all. So again, going through our phase 1 of engagement right now, we'll have much more technical analysis as well as engagement summaries and other information to share out here as spring and summer, as we continue into the spring and summer. So we'll report all that information out in our next presentation opportunity and provide some more information too in the phase 2 opportunities to engage with us. So with that, I also just wanted to offer, though we are not, this project is separate from H-Line, we are working in tandem with them via a similar consultant team as well as similar agency project leads. And so we are in constant coordination with H-Line. Obviously, that is an element of this corridor in the future. And so just offering here if there's any H-Line questions or comments, wanted to share that information, and they're doing the same for our study as well. So just have some cohesiveness there. So I'll open it up to any questions, or I can go back to slides if folks would like to talk to them in more detail.
Questions in the room or the Zoom room? I was wondering, I just having pulled up the map here where people can drop comments. My question had been, is that Victoria, Wheelock, Maryland, Como intersection in scope? And it appears at least people think it is because they are certainly dropping comments in there. That is definitely an intersection where I think historically D10 hears from people about it, sometimes more, sometimes less. So kind of right at that beginning point.
By the E and E.
Yeah.
That dot.
Extreme western end of your
Yes.
project. Does it include that intersection or does it exclude
does.
that?
The 5-legged intersection at yes. So this intersection will be studied as a part of this project
Okay.
for potential solutions beyond what's out there today.
Yeah, we don't have, as you can see, we're not sharing any design ideas today. We're just only, we're at the project outset, so we're gathering data. We're gathering some of these initial comments, things that people are interested in or concerned about along the corridor. And then we are aware of this intersection. Some changes were made, obviously, with the Wheelock project when it came in. We're working with parks as well. And interesting to think about treatment issues for the lake as well with that intersection since it's right there. So, we're working with them considering the sort of long range plan for Como Park and for the lake, which kind of has a slightly different vision possibly for that intersection as well. So, yeah, we'll be taking a look at it, and there will be design concepts, I think, to respond to, which is it's always easier for people to look at something and then say, I don't like this, I don't like what you're doing, or I have another idea. One thing I want to mention just at the outset, because this is something that's framing a lot of our work even initially, we know this is a very narrow corridor. This is a 60-foot right-of-way corridor, which is not a lot of space to do all the things that you might want to do on this street. So, today there's parking, obviously there's travel lanes, there's bus stops, and the bus stops will be, a larger footprint type of bus stop with the H-Line project at several locations along here. And this is also on the city's bicycle plan for implementation of a separated bikeway. So with common sense projects, we're looking to try to implement those because these are larger scale reconstruction type projects. That will be challenging to fit in a separated bikeway. So, we're going to be challenging our consultants to try to think creatively about ways that we can do this. And there may be some trade-offs in some places. There's also demand for thinking about maintaining or providing better space for trees along the corridor. So you can see that there's a lot of different things to balance, I think, as we start to look along the corridor.
There's also a railway that cuts right across it. And
Yes,
there's that piece of it and bridges and things like that. I was also wondering if there's water issues because of Marydale Park and Willow Reserve use, stormwater drainage, things like that. Cause at one point in time, all of that was connected as wetland area type things, so I don't know if, and even up into some of the back part of the Como Park across, Dale to the west of Dale, all of that was like wetland area, so I don't know if there's any watershed underneath issues that will create road issues later on or something, so.
Yeah, so we do have a technical advisory committee of agency representatives, and the Capital Region Watershed is one of those members. We actually just had our first meeting with everyone earlier this week, and I think it was just this morning. They shared with us some modeled information of potential flooding areas right where you were talking about. So that'll be a part of the conversation of how this project at least acknowledges that and offers opportunities potentially in the future to mitigate those flooding concerns.
And as is actually standard with reconstruction type projects like this, we are going to be required to provide treatment with the project. Where and how that is done will be, subject for some discussion. As I said, there's not a lot of space to sort of do it at the edges of this road. Sometimes there's under road treatment that can be done in some spots. We'll see what the possibilities are for that.
Other questions?
Is the railroad a partner with that? Are they private or are they? I don't
It's
know
a
how
good,
that.
no, that's a good question. Well, yeah, they are private. It's BNSF. Yeah, it's Burlington Northern Santa Fe. They own that bridge, and uh, I think the long and short when it comes to working with the railroads is that they are challenging to work with.
Yeah, you can just say they're
You
the
can
worst.
say it.
We
You're
all
in
know.
good
It's okay.
company.
We get it, yeah.
They guard their facilities jealously, and it makes it difficult sometimes to do changes. We have to talk a little bit more with Amy is on from the county here. This is on the county section of the road, but the uh, reworking a bridge is a lot of work with the railroad. Usually it means sort of chasing the grade back from the bridge if you want to try to provide a wider opening or better clearance. And that can be expensive bridge. It's also they don't like to touch anything if they don't have to fix it. We have a lot of railroads, some of these old bridges around the city of St. Paul and in Minneapolis as well, and I think that they are almost universally challenging to improve. They don't get rebuilt much at all. That's just why you've noticed them. They look like they're from the 19th century. They kind of are, some of them. So, we'll take a look at it. I would anticipate it's probably not, it's going to be a pinch point on the road, I think. I don't want to say it's
David,
completely impossible, but yeah.
I would just add from the county's perspective, I think we're looking at this as kind of like what can be done in the near term, without any changes to the bridge, but then also understanding that that is a pinch point. And so what can be done in the long term if and when there are changes that can be made to that bridge. So kind of looking at it in those two ways with this study.
But maybe this is way too in the weeds. But could you do eminent domain on a bridge?
On the railroad?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't work with the railroads enough to know this, but they are a strange entity. They were granted this land way back when, and they don't want to give an inch for all the land they were granted for free way back in the day. They occupy, I think, a strange category. I'm not sure if the city or the county has eminent domain rights on to condemn land that's theirs.
Dang.
It's like they operate on a separate planet
Yeah.
from the rest of us. Wow.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I thank you, first of all, for sharing this, but also just like encourage everyone to make the comments, because I feel like I feel like a lot of times we feel like we're coming in on phase 2,
Yeah.
and make the comments now because
Phase one.
this is phase one. This is the beginning, and they're doing a great job of doing outreach early. And so I think this is the part that a lot of people feel like they miss and feel frustrated when phase two comes out and they didn't feel like they got to say what they wanted to say. So tell your neighbors, tell your friends if you live, work, play, bike, whatever it is in that area, like this is the time. And
I would encourage a mailer to anyone who has an address on Maryland Avenue. I mean, it's not that long. It'd be a cheap outreach directly to people who are gonna be impacted 2-3 years from now on driveways and parking and when it goes into place. So it's an easy start of it.
yeah, I think we just tend to work with a lot of people who are like, I never knew.
Yeah.
And we're like,
We
well,
get
we put
that
it
a
out
lot.
there.
Yeah.
So if we can help with flyering or anything like that, we can even get a group together.
No.
Well, and you talked about pop-ups before, but we've got several events in the neighborhood. Our ice cream social is right here at the streetcar station.
Marydale.
Marydale Festival.
The Marydale Festival, so I mean, like there are events in the neighborhood where I think you would find a captive audience. That use these intersections, use these biking, walking, rolling, public transit, driving ways, have kids at these schools, go to ice cream cone.
Yeah, and we don't have any of our big community events during this survey period, but we do have art crawl participation in April, and the H line is already planning to have a table at one of our art crawl sites. So if you're working with them, let them know to get your materials at that event too.
Yeah, we definitely will. SRF is a consultant on the H line, admittedly, so we are fully in the know of H line, and so we actually are going to be sharing a table at a pop-up event next Tuesday at Northdale Community Center. So both Metro Transit, H line staff, and this project team will be present, and like you said, we'll have future opportunities as well. We're definitely tracking those, so good to know. Thank you for sharing that.
Question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So is the team that you're gonna be working with to look at the intersection from hell gonna be different than the team that designed that intersection?
I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to look back and see who was on the project team who designed it. I don't know if it was
I
just the
personally
city.
was not on the team, so
No, none of us was. Our staff working on design are from SRF and from TC2, Sam's firm here. So, we'll try to look at it with a fresh look, and think about what the possibilities are. We just had a meeting this morning with Como Park High School, and with the principal and the person who sort of manages transportation and the busing at the school. It is going to be really important that we are really carefully coordinated because they're kind of a landlocked school. They're stuck between the lake, Maryland to the north, the railroad to the south. So access to and from the school is really important. I think that the Wheelock intersection plays a part in that. So there's a whole staging aspect there's a constructability thing that comes in down the line a little bit with thinking about what you build where and how it affects access to the schools. That school also has a lot of summer activities, which is not something that I knew prior to that. So they have summer credit recovery, kind of summer school. It's one of the few district schools that's air conditioned, so I think that's why it's used for that purpose. And it's used even outside of the St. Paul Public School District, I think. So it would not be great to shut it off in the summertime from access to getting in and out of the school. We'll work on that intersection though. I think we'll take a look at it.
All right, here's an idea. Seriously, have a Wheelock bend and tee to East Como Boulevard. Have East Como Boulevard where it goes around the lake, bend and tee at that same point, and then have Maryland tee and East Como Boulevard completely separate from Wheelock. So you would end up with two intersections, but they would both be tees. People wouldn't necessarily like having two, but you wouldn't have you'd have two tees, similar to what you did. where Lexington hits, West Seven.
Right, let's put it on the, on the
I'm
map.
tossing it out.
Put it on the map.
Draw it up for us. I don't know if I have a picture exactly of what you're saying.
Just my one comment, you know, geez.
We believe in you, Dan. All right, anything else from the Zoom room or the in-person room? All right. Seeing none. Thank you so much for bringing this to us. I feel like we have just a wealth of ways to picture our neighborhood, both sides right now. So thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate it. And we will be moving on